Our first topic of conversation, ladies and gentlemen, where the Southeastern Conference is concerned, according to a report from one Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated, the SEC is considering highly a conference-only schedule. On today, the athletic directors, the ADs met on today. On Thursday, the presidents will meet, and sometime either by the end of this week or the beginning of next week, Commissioner Greg Sankey will have his decision when it comes to either having a full schedule, a conference-only schedule, what will take place here for the SEC. So going back to Dellinger's report in which he was citing sources on this, the conference is right now looking at three models. It is 2+1 models where the SEC would have the 10. Each team in the conference will have the 10 conference games, and then you would have a +1 from a non-conference, or you could probably even maybe pick two, non-conference games since there's 2+1 models. And then the third model is the conference-only model. So that's coming from the SEC. Now the ACC has just dropped its decision on today. The ACC has decided to go with 10 conference games and one non-conference game. It's crazy how Notre Dame is going to be looked at as an ACC team for just this season. So Notre Dame will be a part of the conference just this 2020 campaign. And what makes this interesting is with the conference going in this manner, here's another opportunity for Alabama, for Greg Byrne. Maybe you look at scheduling one of the ACC opponents as your season opening matchup with the conference going with this model. 10 conference games and then one non-conference game. Maybe an Alabama-Virginia Tech or an Alabama-North Carolina or an Alabama-Florida State. I know Mike Norvell is trying to get that program fixed up. Maybe even an Alabama-Clemson, have that game week one of the college football season, Greg Byrne. That would be outstanding, seeing as how the ACC gets the 10 conference and the one non-conference game of its choosing. Now, of course, the crazy thing with this is whomever the ACC picks or teams in the conference pick as the one non-conference game, that team will have to travel to the ACC venue to play that particular game. But I'm pretty sure if Alabama and Greg Byrne was to schedule an ACC opponent, to start the season, I'm pretty sure Coach Saban, the Tide, would not mind traveling to the ACC and playing that venue on the road. I think it would be a pretty fun, entertaining matchup. I know at the end of the day, we all hear just one football, but just so much news coming out here as of right now. So the ACC today decided the 10 conference games and the one non-conference game. In terms of the SEC, it's looking at two different models here. You're looking at three different models, the 2+1 models where you would have the 10 conference games and the +1 of the 10 conference games. You could probably maybe even draw two non-conference matchups in terms of the SEC. In other news here, the NCAA actually put out a waiver here in terms of, if teams wanted to move their seasons up to play on August 29th. Now, at first, you had to apply to get the waiver. Now, the NCAA has made this available for, all schools. Amid the COVID-19 crisis, if you feel like you want to move the schedule up, play during that week 0 of college football, which starts on August 29th, that Saturday, teams can switch around schedules, move around, and get that game on the 29th. Now, Alabama has a chance to do that if Greg Byrne sees an opportunity to do that. Now, me personally, if Alabama does take the method of going to August 29th, then that would mean fall camp would start on August 1st, and that would take a whole week of fall camp practices away from Saban and the Tide, and that's one thing that the head coach here at Alabama not trying to have that happen. Saban wants all the fall camp practices. He wants all the opportunities to work with the players, get everybody caught up to speed, get everybody on the field, recognizing why we are aggressive tackling, why we are aggressive taking the angle away, why we are aggressive hunting the football, why we are aggressive playing, on offense as well. So even though having the first game of the season on August 29th, though that would be tempting, though that would be interesting, and the NCAA is permitting, teams to do this, once again with Saban, that would require removing, a full week of fall camp practices. Alabama not trying to have that happen here at this point. But, right now, going back to Ross Dellinger's report here from Sports Illustrated, the athletic directors, the ADs of the SEC, they've decided on a conference-only model. They're good with the conference-only schedule. The presidents are the next in line, so they will meet up on Thursday. They will talk. They will debate. They will have a conversation. What do we need to do? Do we need to go to a conference-only look? Can we maybe possibly still have a full schedule? Are we going with 10 games and a +1? Like, what are we doing? So the presidents will meet up on Thursday. They'll talk. They'll have a conversation. They'll have a discussion. And from what is gathered from the ADs and the presidents, Commissioner Sankey, Greg Sankey, between the latter part of this week, Thursday or Friday, or going into next week, he will have his decision on what will become of the SEC. But for me, even though I would like to have, a full season, you can't always get what you want. I mean, if it does end up going to a conference-only look, I would be fine with that. I mean, getting a chance to play a Florida, that'll be fun. Getting a chance to play a South Carolina, getting a chance to maybe play a Vanderbilt or play a Kentucky. I mean, that'll be interesting. There are some good teams in the SEC East that Alabama could choose from, to play. There are some good teams. Florida's expected to be good this year. Once again, I get it. It's not what Steve Spurrier once had it, or it's not where Urban Meyer once had it, but Dan Mullen is a good coach. He's an offensive mind. He's a decent coach. He wins your football games. Kyle Trask is a good quarterback. I like what Emory Jones brings to the table, as the backup, and they've got talent on both sides of the football. You look at Kentucky. I understand it was a rough ride there for Mark Stoops to start off, but he's gotten the program better. He's turned the program around, and more times than not, he brings in quality pieces on the defensive side, of the football. I like what Missouri can bring to the table. Vanderbilt, I know it's been rough on Derek Mason as the head coach, but he still, has some things quality-wise that he brings to the table. So while I would like to see the SEC try to have a full schedule and come out with a full schedule if it has to go to. If there's no other way we can do this but have a conference-only look, a conference-only schedule, then hey, I will be just 100% fine with that. But Commissioner Sankey is expected to make that decision here coming up either on the latter part of this week or the beginning of next week. But I just thought it was interesting how they brought the waiver into consideration, where you could have teams either move the schedule up to play on August 29th if you felt like it, if you want to do it, if you want to take part in it, or you could just keep what you already have. So it's kind of interesting here just to look at this, dissect this, and put this in perspective. So, but if Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne wants to do this, with the ACC having the 10 conference games and the one non-conference situation, if Alabama wants to pursue this, then there is an opportunity to look at, maybe a Virginia Tech, as I mentioned, maybe a North Carolina. Remember, the Tar Heels came so close to beating Clemson last year under Mack Brown, first-year head coach. If it doesn't go with a triple option play as a two-point conversion, it possibly pulls off the upset against Clemson, but there's North Carolina there. There's North Carolina State there. That's typically a good program. Florida State's there. Clemson is a viable option there. So, you've played Louisville once before, so there's a lot of options there for Alabama if it wants to pursue, the ACC. But at the end of the day, as you, the fans, have greatly stated here on multiple occasions, as I myself have gone over as well. No matter what the SEC does, no matter what the presidents finally come up with, no matter what Commissioner Sankey finally puts down on paper, the idea is everybody wants football. From north, south, east, west, we all want to see the gridiron game on the field. We want to have health and safety, absolutely. We want to make sure people are protected, players are protected, coaches are protected, fans are protected, everybody is on the up and up with the health and safety guidelines. We want to make sure that is a key ingredient, but along with that, after months of being cooped up in the home, after months of not having live action sports. Now, of course, we've got baseball back, and you've got the NBA doing scrimmages, but after months of not having actual live sports, fans, you guys just really want to get back to a sense of normalcy, a sense of socialization, and football plays a key role in that. But that's just some news that are coming from the SEC, according to one Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, but got to remind you of our good friends at Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes. That's Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes. If you use the code TDA Emily's, you earn 10% off all orders over $30. Link will be found there in the description of the show. But upon our return, we get into your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns. We're talking Alabama football, and we'll discuss it after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.